Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Thursday, January 5th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with AEW Dynamite broadcast live last night on TBS from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. In the main event, Darby Allin defeated Samoa Joe to win the TNT Championship. Allin won the title clean in his hometown after a code red and 2 coffin drops.
Great call, Taz.
Turnbuckle. Yeah, the turnbuckle is exposed. Darby. Oh my God!
Right on his head.
The code red by Darby.
Say it ain't so. Coffin drop.
Coffin drop to the spine.
No way.
Do it again.
Nah, he's going too far.
Do it again.
No way he hits it.
Coffin drop. 1, 2, 3.
This is Allin's second TNT title reign. Bryan Danielson defeated Tony Nese by referee stoppage as Nese was unconscious while being trapped in the Regal stretch. After the bout, Danielson called out AEW World Champion MJF, and the two proceeded to duel back and forth on the microphone. MJF told Danielson if he wanted a shot at the world title, he'd have to wrestle on TV, winning every week to become the #1 contender. Danielson agreed to MJF's stipulations when MJF agreed to his. If and when they face off, the bout will be a 60-minute Iron Man match.
I am going to expose that you don't have the cardio, that you haven't put in the work, that you don't have the footwork, that everything that you do, the reason that you don't wrestle isn't just because you don't care about wrestling, it's because you're not good enough to come out here every single week. And after I expose you in front of all of these people, I'm gonna put the nail in the coffin and I'm gonna kick your damn head in.
Hangman Page and Jon Moxley squared off during an in-ring promo, intensifying their feud ahead of their match coming up next week at the Forum in Los Angeles.
The only joke that I think is funny is the fact that you think next time is going to be any different. Your little punk ass doesn't belong in the ring with me. And next week, I'm going to make sure this time you don't get back up.
The Acclaim defeated Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal to retain the AEW World Tag Team Championship. It looked as if Jarrett and Lethal had won the titles when Jarrett hit Anthony Bowens with the stroke and Lethal scored the pin, but the match was restarted when referee Aubrey Edwards came down to the ring to inform the match official Stephon Smith that Sanjay Dutt had pushed Bowens' foot off the ropes during the count. Bowens rolled up Lethal soon after for the victory. Later in the show, it was announced that the two teams would have a rematch at this Friday's Battle of the Belts with a no-holds-barred stipulation. Tony Schiavone conducted a sit-down interview with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter about their match coming up next week with Saraya and her mystery partner. Later in the show, during a sit-down interview with Renee Paquette, Saraya revealed that her partner for the match would be Toni Storm, which caused an uncomfortable moment in the storyline for Hikaru Shida, who was also sitting there. The show opened with Ricky Starks defeating Chris Jericho cleanly after finishing him with a spear. After the match, the Jericho Appreciation Society beat Starks down until Action Andretti came down to the ring to try to make the save. Ultimately, Starks and Andretti fell to the numbers game, and Starks was eventually powerbombed by Jake Hager off the ring apron through a table on the floor. Also on the show, on behalf of his partner Hook, Jungle Boy Jack Perry challenged Big Bill and Lee Moriarty to a tag team match next week. Swerve Strickland defeated AR Fox. Jade Cargill and Red Velvet defeated Kiera Hogan and Sky Blue when Cargill pinned Hogan. During the finish, Red Velvet refused Cargill's tag and jumped off the ring apron. And the Gun Club cut an in-ring promo tearing down FTR, saying the fans would never see them in AEW again. In ratings news, a week after airing a Best of 2022 show on Boxing Day, WWE Raw returned to a live program on the USA Network Monday night and averaged 1.605 million viewers. Raw notched a .41 amongst viewers 18 to 49 years old, equating to 539,000 people watching, according to WrestleNomics. In the demo, the show finished 11th overall for the day on cable, trailing the National Football League, 2 collegiate football bowl games, and the National Hockey League Outdoor Winter Classic game. The injury to Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin during the NFL game likely played a factor in the numbers pattern of Raw. According to WrestleNomics, WWE suffered its lowest quarter hours of the night between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The call to officially cancel the game came at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The NFL game aired on ESPN and ESPN2 as well as the ABC network. The combined viewership for that game between those 3 outlets was 23.79 million viewers, with a combined 18 to 49-year-old demographic number of 6.24. Looking at the show's performance hourly, the first 60 minutes of Raw was the highest rated, with 1.83 million viewers. The second hour fell to 1.60 million viewers, with the third hour settling in at 1.39 million. In Canada, Post Wrestling's John Pollock reported that Raw did a strong number, netting approximately 228,000 English-language viewers and 114,000 in the 25 to 54-year-old demographic, making it the most watched Monday night since Halloween night 2022. In WWE news, the 2023 edition of Money in the Bank will be held at the O2 Arena in London, England on July 1st, according to an official announcement this morning. The announcement comes after last summer's successful Clash at the Castle premium live event in Cardiff, Wales, which drew 62,296 fans to Principality Stadium and was the most watched international event in WWE history. This will be the first time Money in the Bank has been held outside North America and the first WWE premium live event at a standard-size UK arena since the UK-only pay-per-view events of the early 2000s. William Regal officially returned to work with the company on Wednesday, according to an exclusive PW Insider report. His current official title has not yet been announced, but Regal's previous position with WWE was Director of Talent Developmental and Head of Global Recruiting. Regal was let go from WWE a year ago after spending more than 20 years with the company in both an on-air talent and office capacity. Regal is the latest in a string of individuals dismissed towards the end of the Vince McMahon regime who have been brought back to WWE since Paul Levesque assumed power. Following his dismissal, Regal spent 9 months in AEW before requesting an early release to return to WWE. Per his departure agreement, he cannot appear on WWE television until 2024. The cable channel A&E will make a return to airing WWE programming beginning in February, according to a PWI Insider report yesterday. The report stated that the next series of WWE biography subjects will include Dusty Rhodes, Jake Roberts, and the NWO. PW Insider also stated that the WWE Rivals and WWE's Most Wanted Treasures would also be returning with new episodes. Turning to Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced a press conference for Friday to announce details of the upcoming joint-produced card with Pro Wrestling Noah. Announced in November, the show is titled Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 and will take place at the Yokohama Arena on January 21st. Today it was officially revealed that the show would involve Noah wrestlers for the second consecutive year. During yesterday's New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17 event at the Tokyo Dome, the Noah faction of Congo showed up to challenge Los Ingobernables during their post-match press conference. Coming off Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan held their annual follow-up event New Year's Dash today at the Ota City General Gymnasium. Shown for free over their streaming service, the show had no card or wrestlers announced for it in advance, with the exception of the King of Pro Wrestling provisional title match. Traditionally, it serves as an angle-heavy show to set up new feuds and to reset wrestlers. In the main event, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada teamed up for the first time and defeated Jeff Cobb and Aaron Henare of the United Empire. After the match, Jeff Cobb came down to the ring to challenge Omega for a match in the future. Shingo Takagi also came down to the ring to challenge Okada for a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight title, which Okada accepted. Takagi had also publicly challenged Okada after his title-winning victory yesterday against Jay White. Earlier in the night, Takagi won the King of Pro Wrestling 2023 Provisional Championship, winning a four-way match over the Great Okan, Sho, and Toru Yano. Master Wato, Hikuleo, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tama Tonga defeated Jay White, Kenta El Phantasmo, and Taiji Ishimori. After the match, Jay White challenged Hikuleo to a loser leaves Japan match. Shota Umino, Raisuke Taguchi, Togi Makabe, and Yo defeated Bushi, Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Takahashi, and Sanada. Zack Sabre Jr., Mikey Nichols, and Shane Haste defeated Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii. After the match, Nichols and Haste challenged Goto and Yoshihashi for a shot at the IWGP World Tag Team titles, while Ishii stared down Sabre, who became the new New Japan Television Champion yesterday. Sabre also introduced former Young Lion Kosei Fujita into the TMDK faction. Taichi Doki and Yoshinobu Kanemaru with Taka Michinoku at ringside defeated Will Ospreay, TJP, and Francesco Akira. In a pre-match promo, Taka referred to himself and his fellow former Suzuki-gun members as Just Four Guys, which may be the new name of his stable. After the match, Doki and Kanemaru challenged Catch 2-2 for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, and tensions continued between Ospreay and Taichi. Also on the show, Evil Dick Togo and Yujiro Takahashi defeated Ren Narita, Tiger Mask, and Tomoyoki Hanma. In crime news, former mixed martial arts fighter and occasional pro wrestler Phil Baroni was arrested in San Pacho, Mexico for allegedly killing his girlfriend. Originally reported by Tribuna de la Bahia and picked up by TMZ, Baroni is alleged to have called police after assaulting his girlfriend so badly that he killed her. Once police arrived at the Jardin San Pancho Hotel, officers noted that Baroni's hands were red. They then observed that Baroni's girlfriend had no vital signs and showed injuries to multiple parts of her body. According to Danny Segura of MMA Junkie, the 46-year-old is being held at a municipal court in Valle de Banderas. No official charges have been filed yet, although it's being investigated as a murder. Baroni, nicknamed the New York Badass, fought 35 times over 19 years, most of them for the largest MMA companies in the world, including the Ultimate Fighting Championships, Pride Fighting Championships, Bellator, and ONE FC. His personal feud against the Fight Club Team Quest led to notable fights against Matt Lindland and Evan Tanner in the UFC during 2003 and 2004. Baroni wrestled 5 matches in his professional wrestling career. His first came for the Inoki Genome Federation in February of 2015. Baroni teamed with fellow former UFC veteran Justin McCulley in a loss to Kazuyuki Fujita and Shinichi Suzukawa. He wrestled 2 more matches in 2015, defeating Mike Modest and Kenny King on 2 different independent shows, but didn't return to the ring again until 2019, where he fought on GCW's Bloodsport event in a loss to Dominic Guarini. Baroni's last appearance came in June of 2021, losing to Justin Kyle at an ICW no-holds-barred hardcore show in New Jersey. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.